Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live, local, 5 days a week TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today at CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Our top story comes from Bridge, Michigan in their coronavirus tracker. Good news, positive cases in Michigan have dropped by 11% over the past week, down to just 12,949 total cases, or about 1,850 per day. Experts say those case rate numbers that have been fluctuating kind of up and down over the last several weeks are mostly as a result of a lull in reporting cases that happened around the Labor Day holiday at the beginning of the month. Across Michigan, 70 out of its 83 counties, as well as the separately counted city of Detroit, saw a reduction in cases. So that's good news in the middle of this week on the coronavirus front. Also making headlines today from Jennifer Chambers at the Detroit News. Attorneys for the teachers union at Oxford High School are advising educators and administrators to not partake in interviews for third-party investigations into last November's school shooting that took the lives of 4 students. Attorney Darcy Brandt, in an email in July, wrote to teachers and other educators, quote, "This is what we should tell members to say. Because the district is involved in pending litigation, the district's attorneys have advised me not to make any unnecessary statements. Since this requested interview is voluntary, I decline based on that advice," and close quote. District attorneys as well, such as Tim Mullins, made similar sentiments, stating, quote, "I did say some of your people should talk. I did say none of your people should talk. Any lawyer would say, don't talk to anybody but us. My advice is you defer any interview with these people," Guidepost, a third-party group that is doing an investigation into November's shooting, "until you are interviewed by plaintiffs' attorneys. You are going to have top attorneys questioning people under oath, with it all being taken down on video and transcriptions. How much investigation do you want or need?" and closed quote. Last week, Oxford School Board President Tim Donnelly announced his resignation, as well as the board's treasurer, Corey Bailey, announcing the resignation earlier on in the week. Finally, making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from Jamie L. LaRue at the Detroit Free Press. There will be a new kind of shopping soon at your local Kroger store, and other groceries your groceries may no longer require clerk checkout or even self-checkout. Instead, it could be a robot. A GM subsidiary, BreakDrop, is soon to introduce a new e-cart to help grocery stores such as Kroger deliver on online orders. Kroger intends to begin using this robot later on in the year. BreakDrop spokesperson Daniel Roberts was quoted on the new partnership, saying this will be an immensely beneficial partnership between them and Kroger, as well as other grocers in the future, saying, quote, "COVID has driven a dramatic increase in online grocery shopping, and fulfilling these orders profitably has been a major challenge for retailers of all sizes. With the Trace Grocery, we saw an opportunity to help companies like Kroger tackle these challenges head on," and closed quote. Our staff, higher demands, longer lines, all a factor in some of these major changes that will be coming to your local market very soon, as you have probably had issues with. Long lines at various points of the day, very few staffers clerking their checkout lines that used to be entirely staffed pre-pandemic. And so major changes have to be made, as those jobs are simply not being filled at a rate that allows a sense of normality to return to your local grocery store. So interesting developments there from GM subsidiary BreakDrop. All of those headlines making news today on our website, CivicCenterTV.com, on our local news page, along with those ever helpful links to up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Wednesday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll talk to the Michigan Science Center's Andy Zulkowski. That's next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good. Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 5 days per week TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you'll find information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, one of the absolute favorite places for families and adults alike to go to learn more about the sciences and explore some of the great things happening right here in Michigan is the Michigan Science Center. And coming up, you'll have a chance to go to the Michigan Science Center for free. Here to tell us about that, some of those activities and more happening at the Michigan Science Center is Andy Zulkowski, the Director of Guest Experiences at the organization. Andy, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Appreciate having you on. So your free day at the Michigan Science Center is coming up this Saturday, September 24th, featuring a number of different activities, not just in the sciences, but also in other arts as well. Tell us about some of these activities that will be available to the public on this free day on Saturday.
And we have a great lineup planned thanks to Strategic Staffing Solutions. We're going to be open to the public for free. We also have partners in that day from the Detroit Zoological Society talking about animal conservation and how they study different animal or different data to learn about the animals and how they're doing out in the environment. We have Shakespeare in Detroit. It's going to be talking about everything from the science and engineering that goes into lighting design in theater and costuming and different things we can learn through performance and play. And then another partner called Edible Wow, which is going to be doing a live cooking demonstration as well. So lots of cool stuff going on this weekend, along with all the other great things we do at the Science Center every day.
You can learn more information, of course, on the website, mi-sci.org. That's mi-sci.org for more information on the free day on Saturday, as well as all their other activities all throughout the year at the Michigan Science Center. Andy, how can people participate in this free day? Are they just showing up? Do they have to pre-register?
Absolutely pre-register at our website. You just said mi-sci.org. We suggest guests do that in advance. The tickets are going fast. We may have a few tickets available, first come, first serve the day of, but your best bet is to register in advance. It also helps us spread out guests just throughout the entire day. So when you do sign up for tickets, you'll pick a different time slot depending on the time you may want to arrive. And we just ask you to try to stick as close to that as you can.
We're joined by Andy Zulkowski, the Director of Guest Services at the Guest Experience at the Michigan Science Center. Joining us on today's edition of the Megacast, again, as Andy said, mi-sci.org for more information on the free day coming up this weekend and other programs throughout the year. So what are some of these STEAM activities that are going to be available? It's a big attraction for people, especially for parents bringing their kids who really want to get them engaged in STEAM as early as possible.
Absolutely. So at the Michigan Science Center, we like to say we put you at the center of science, having kids see themselves in these STEAM careers. So the Shakespeare in Detroit is going to be talking about costuming, what are the different, the geometry that goes into costume design. So kids will have a chance to check out how costumes are assembled through the different performance type of thing. Think about how we learn through play and experience things through play. And also think about lighting and technical design, some of the amazing scenery and different effects that go into the arts and that sort of thing as well. So combining the arts and science together. We also do the same kind of thing around the Science Center every day through our different theater and live presentations that we do. So we really want kids to be able to see themselves in it, and really all ages. There's stuff for all ages here at the Michigan Science Center. We have 3 theaters. We have our IMAX, our planetarium, and our 4D theater, along with live presentations. And we have a really great traveling exhibit called Popnology, talking about the science of pop culture mixed with science fiction. And that's going to only be here for a couple more days. That's included with admission as well. That closes on September 30th.
And let's take a step back. As you're planning these sorts of programs on a day like Free Day, that is, of course, as you said, being presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions for their Youth Design Community Free Day this Saturday, September 24th at the Michigan Science Center. As you're planning these sort of different experiences, these different exhibits that come in and other exhibits around those areas that are in addition to those main attractions, what are some of those main focuses that you and your staff are working on to really engage the community in some of these scientific learning experiences that are at the Michigan Science Center all throughout the year?
We want to make science accessible and approachable. Sometimes people get intimidated by science, or they're not really sure about it. Maybe it's something that they were never, familiar with or confident in. So we like to approach people at their level. It's not a formal education; it's informal. It's edutainment, as we call it sometimes, and really just giving the wow factor, giving people a chance to participate in the science themselves, to engage around that sort of stuff. Whether it's through a hands-on exhibit or a program that we develop here, we want to get the volunteers up. We want to get kids and people of all ages involved in the science directly, so they can kind of have that little spark of inspiration. And maybe when they come home, they think about, hey, I remember that from the Science Center. There's science all around me every day. So we definitely want to make it approachable to everyone out there.
How much of a factor does interactivity play into assigning these different exhibits to go live throughout the year, or partnering with these organizations that are traveling with these different science exhibits to museums? Because so often people will go to museums to see and to read, but not necessarily be able to interact with either the history or the science or other interesting topics that they are there to experience.
Interactivity is key. We learn so much through playing, through doing, through experiencing, that it's not just reading the facts and understanding the concepts. It is really putting them into action. So if a guest can have an opportunity to launch a bottle rocket, or to see interact with the Science Center staff member doing an experiment, it really just is key for them to actually do it themselves, to know that, hey, I can experience science and I can be a part of it as well.
And going back to the Free Day on Saturday, September 24th at the Michigan Science Center, that's the Strategic Staffing Solutions Youth Design Community Free Day, happening all day on September 24th. You mentioned the Shakespeare in Detroit exhibit. Part of it is going into the science behind costume design. But there's a lot more interesting science that actually goes into the theater that most people aren't really thinking about, that they'll be teaching at the Michigan Science Center this week, Saturday. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the other sciences of theater that Shakespeare in Detroit will be explaining to the people who come into the Michigan Science Center on Free Day?
They're also going to be highlighting, think about sound design. They're going to have an activity around rain sticks. But the amount of if you're seeing a show or a movie, when that sound really puts you into that environment, you feel like you're in the middle of something and fully experiencing it. They're also going to talk about lighting design, just creating the atmosphere, what goes behind, think about lighting, the optics and the intensity, the color of the light, that sort of thing. And all the way to building scenery. You think about how incredible you'll see a set, a touring show will come through, or one of your local community theaters, And it just creates that whole experience that there's a lot of design engineering. We want actors and performers to be safe, but also to do really cool things on stage that you wouldn't think were possible.
In addition, you're partnering with the Detroit Zoo, the Detroit Zoological Society that runs the local Detroit Zoo at this free day. And they're teaching a lot about sustainability. And when people think about their local zoo, they're not necessarily thinking about environmental sustainability. They're thinking about, okay, we're managing a variety of different animals, often exotic animals that are not native to this local area. And that's it. But there's so much that this organization does to help with research and with innovation for the future, not just at zoos, but in the general community. What can people learn from the Detroit Zoo at this weekend's event?
So they're going to talk about animal conservation, some of the different activities they're going to do. They're going to talk about how thermal cameras can help us, study nature and things around us. How the data that they track, whether through sound recording, through observation, helps us understand what's going on in nature to help protect ecosystems and animals, down to things like just protecting our environment. So they're going to be doing a lot of really cool hands-on activities. They're going to be set up. They're a great partner. We're always happy to have the Detroit Zoo at the Michigan Science Center.
We're joined by Andy Zulkowski from the Michigan Science Center. He's their director of guest experience, and of course, their free day coming up at the Michigan Science Center this Saturday, September 24th. Go to their website, mi-sci.org, for more information, as well as to register for this event. It is free to the public. They do suggest that you register in order to show up at this event. The Strategic Staffing Solutions sponsored Youth Design Community Free Day, with partnerships, of course, from Strategic Staffing Solutions, as well as SID, or Shakespeare in Detroit, and the Detroit Zoological Society. Andy, before we let you go, a few more minutes, what are some of the other exciting exhibits that are coming up at the Michigan Science Center? Obviously, you got free day on this week, Saturday. Popnology still there at the Michigan Science Center through about the end of the month, September 30th. What's coming up next?
So after that, we have something really cool planned, hoping to announce very soon, that will be replacing Popnology. We also have some new IMAX films. It's called Mysteries of the Unseen World. That also just actually launched today. We came out of our coming into our fall programming. So that's all about the really, really small, the really, really fast things that we normally don't see with the human eye. So our theaters are another amazing, immersive experience. And we're always changing things up here. We've got some great exhibits on the floor for all ages. We have our Earth, Wind, and Weather exhibit that we have a giant, tornado simulated in there. We talk about waves, we talk about storms and all kind of cool stuff. So new stuff coming into the Michigan Science Center all the time. And we're not just here in Midtown Detroit. We also have our traveling science program, which we got out into the community. We're always out at festivals and different things, going to, scouting events or schools to go present out in the public. And then we also do virtual online stuff with our ECHO learning program. So we're all over the place.
Well, Andy, appreciate you joining us, telling us more about these upcoming programs and a little bit of what goes in the planning, some of these different activities and exhibits that people love to engage in with the Michigan Science Center. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us, and hope to see you on Saturday.
You will. Saturday, September 24th is their free day at the Michigan Science Center. Again, mi-sci.org to learn more information and, of course, to register for your free tickets for Saturday. You can also go to mi-sci.org/theaters to look into all their theaters, including their IMAX Dome, the Planetarium, of course, Toyota 4D Engineering Theater, their Science Stage, as well as the DTE Energy Sparks Theater as well. All on their website. More information on upcoming programs there as well, going into the future, mi-sci.org. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to a number of individuals staying on the topic of the sciences and talking more about conservation and climate leadership with the members of the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition, coming up next on the Megacast.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 5 days per week TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes state, as well as find all of our full episodes and individual interviews on demand. The Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is one of many groups in our local area that is working on fighting climate change at the grassroots, community to community, and battling some of the ways that in our local area we can make some change and prevent the effects of climate change from having long-standing effects on generations to come. Let's take a look at a short video with some of the more information on what they do. Do we have that video, Jared? We do not. Okay. We do not have that video. We will do our best to post that along with this interview later on today so you can get more information. In the meantime, let's continue on. Joining us now on the Megacast from the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is Risa Allison Cooper, as well as Amit Weitzer on today's edition of the Megacast. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Good to have you both with us today. So Risa is Hazon's Chief Climate Officer, and Amit is Hazon Detroit's Executive Director, and are two of the members of the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition. So let's start with you, Risa. Can you tell us a little bit about this organization, this coalition of different groups in our local area that are working to battle climate change?
Sure thing. So the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is a collective of Jewish community organizations who recognize the existential threat, the moral urgency of the climate crisis, and are committed to taking meaningful climate action. Chazon has 20 founding partners who have worked alongside us to vision and launch this coalition. The 20 founding partners represent umbrella organizations of Jewish life. And as of last Thursday, the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is now open to Jewish community organizations everywhere to sign on and to join us. All coalition members are asked to sign the founding statement, which essentially says that we, as leaders of the Jewish community organization, we recognize that climate crisis is real and we are committed to taking action. Organizations also designate a staff liaison who is going to coordinate their organization's climate action work. And then the biggest piece of what it means to participate in the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is that all organizations commit to developing, implementing, evaluating, and sharing out annually a climate action plan, which basically sets the strategic priorities of that organization in terms of their climate action work, detailing both actions that they've taken to date, as well as ways in which they will reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in the coming year, and also help to mobilize their broader networks around climate action.
And then, so Amit, when did this coalition begin to come together? At what point did these different organizations decide we have to do something and we're better off working together to find some of these solutions in our local communities?
I'm actually going to pass that over to Risa to talk about the genesis of the program.
Okay.
So the founding partners started coming together in February, March of this year. This was one of the things that came out of Yakir Minella, Chazon's CEO, participated in COP26 in the UN's Climate Summit last year. And the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition was an idea that came out of that experience, wanting to think about how we can mobilize the Jewish community organizations, Jewish institutions around climate action. So the Yakir brought this to the founding partner organizations. They began meeting back in February, March of this year. And as he said, just as of last week, the coalition is now open for organizations everywhere to join.
Among some of the organizations, but not all of them, that are in the coalition, the JCC Association of North America, the Birthright Israel is also in it. Hillel International, also a member of the organization. And of course, the organization both of you are from, Chazon, also a member of the coalition. So going to you, Amit, from Chazon's perspective, you as the executive director, what was the motivation behind your organization joining in on this cause? What about your mission made this the perfect coalition to join in on to combat some of these issues?
Well, I'm the director of Chazon's work in Detroit. And so I can share that here in Detroit, Chazon has been convening for over 5 years the Seal of Sustainability program. So has been working with and supporting Jewish organizations in community with one another, integrating environmental stewardship, environmental education into their work year-round. And so this is a really extraordinary and ambitious and critical way of building upon that long-standing work and commitment to integrating environmental education, stewardship, and action into Jewish life, and focused on the specific moment that we're in as it relates to the climate crisis. And so locally in Detroit, we see this as sort of the next step, the next layer on top of the Seal of Sustainability work that has been engaging over 40 organizations in the local Detroit metro area. And Risa, perhaps you can speak to nationally.
Sure, please, Risa.
So nationally, since launching last week, we already have, I believe we're up to 70 Jewish community organizations that have signed on, and another 90 or so organizations that have registered for our upcoming information sessions to learn more about the coalition and what it means to be involved, as well as what levels of support Chazon will be providing coalition members in order to help them move forward in their climate action planning. And those layers of support include hosting educational webinars, providing climate action plan templates, and as well, we have a climate action fund where organizations can apply for interest-free loans as well as matching grants in order to be able to support their climate action work.
So these are a number of organizations across not just Michigan, but even beyond the state of Michigan. But it's just a group of several organizations. How much of an impact can a coalition of these many organizations across the U.S. really have on climate change in the future? What are some of the ways that can actually see some results?
That's a great question. In Pirkei Avot, in the Ethics of Our Ancestor, which is a Jewish text, there is a teaching that we don't have to complete the work, but neither are we free to desist from it. So even if we manage to get every Jewish community organization across North America to join the coalition and to develop robust climate action plans and achieve net zero emissions over the course of the next 6 or 7 years, even that would be a tiny step forward in terms of the global mobilization that is needed in order to really address the climate crisis. And we know that the Jewish community does have a significant impact, and not just within our own community, but also an opportunity to help to mobilize other communities, other faith-based, other religious communities to think about developing similar initiatives. And if we think about this as one initiative, one moment in time that can have incredible ripples out beyond the Jewish community, I think that the opportunity for impact is actually very significant.
You can learn more information about the coalition by visiting hazon.org/coalition, hazon.org/coalition to learn more information. Joining us from Hazon are Risa Ellison Cooper and Amit Weitzer, who are both also with the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition through Hazon on today's edition of the Megacast. So in terms of this organization itself, what are some of those individual missions that you're taking on? You mentioned some of them, but on a broader scope that you're encouraging some of these organizations to take over the course of time. And really, even beyond that, what sort of community action is being taken on us to engage people from not just within these organizations, but the communities that they serve to also partake in some way to make their impact on climate change as well?
Amit, do you want to share within the Detroit community?
Sure. I mean, so as I mentioned, where this is really building on a strong foundation over the last 5 years of more than 40 Jewish organizations setting and meeting goals related to sustainability. So that has included institutional gardening initiatives and really learning about and changing and thinking about where our food comes from and integrating that into the culture and identity of organizations. That has been really meaningful work as it relates to waste and thinking about where our waste goes and mitigating and minimizing waste. It's included energy audits, changing light bulbs, investments in green infrastructure like EV chargers. And what we're excited about is now to have the additional resources and sort of structure provided by the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition to take it to the next level. There have been folks who've been exploring the possibility of community solar, and now they can do that in partnership with other organizations that are within their same sort of category of organization or other organizations within the same region. So we're excited that beyond the work we have been doing was connected through the Detroit community and sort of regional. What this new initiative is bringing is also connection via kind of type of organization so that JCCs across the country can be in community with one another, brainstorming, workshopping what's going to make the most impact for our type of organization, our challenges, our opportunities. Synagogues can do the same thing, day schools. So we're excited to take what we've been learning over the last few years and go to the next step together.
And to continue on with you, from Hazon's perspective, how does participation in a group like the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition fit into your mission and some of the work that your organization is doing right here in the Detroit area?
Well, I mean, it's really integral to our theory of change and how we see our work. Our mission is to support the meaningful integration of environmental sustainability, climate action, outdoor experience into Jewish life. And so this is a huge piece of our work, really mobilizing Jewish communities institutions and the individuals that are a part of those institutions to think of themselves as change agents and to be able to focus and really share specific resources as it relates to climate action and being a part of something larger. We all know, and Risa sort of mentioned, this is a very overwhelming concept, and it can feel hard to figure out where to begin. And what I love about the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is that it provides that place for people so that there's a place to begin or to continue the work that many of us have been doing as individuals or institutions, and to do it in community so that it's more sustaining, more nourishing, and we can do it for the long haul, which is how we're going to have to be doing it together.
Well, Risa, I appreciate both of you joining us and telling us about this coalition of organizations and the work that you're doing to help combat climate change.
Thank you for the time.
Hazon.org/coalition for more information and ways that you can also participate as well. Hazon.org/coalition. We're going to take a break on the Megacast. When we come back, we'll talk about politics. And yes, of course, when we talk about politics, it's a little bit of an eye roll because it is so pervasive and it is so divisive. And that's the thing. One local organization here in Oakland County is working to change that, make our politics a little bit more civil and those conversations more informative for people on all sides of the political spectrum. We're coming up next. We'll talk to Dave Giulio from Oakland University, as well as the Detroit News' Nolan Finley on the Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 5 days per week TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Keefe. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes state, including My Michigan TV. We're approaching the general election this November. We'll choose either to re-elect Governor Gretchen Whitmer or elect a new governor and Republican challenger Tudor Dixon. And of course, whenever we're discussing politics, it seems like these days it's more of a fight and an argument than it is a discussion on the issues of the day. One local organization is looking to change that, and that is the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University. They're holding their upcoming Civility Day coming up very soon. And joining us now to talk about that event on October 25th is Dave Dulio, as well as Nolan Finley from the Detroit News as well. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Tyler.
Appreciate having both of you on. Let's start with you, Dave. For those that aren't familiar with the Center for Civic Engagement, just tell us about the organization that is hosting this event.
Yeah, sure. Very quickly, the Center for Civic Engagement was started 5 years ago now with the intention of making Oakland University known as a convener of conversations about issues of public importance. But of course, when we have those conversations, we want to have them in the right way, right? We want them to be civil, respectful, deliberative, and productive. And that's really where an ongoing relationship and partnership with a project that Nolan Finley and Stephen Henderson are doing, the Civility Project, that has taken this message of civility throughout Southeast Michigan, across Michigan, and even across the nation. We've worked with them many times, and we're delighted to host Nolan, Stephen, and a number of other speakers on October 25th.
And so, Nolan, as you and Stephen are directing the Civility Project and partnering with the Center for Civic Engagement on Civility Day on October 25th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Oakland University at the Oakland Center, I think the big question we go back to, and so many people are curious about, and it's a very broad question, is where did we really go wrong? Or where did things really change to be what kind of is the status quo now in discussing politics, where it's my side versus your side, and there doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of that middle ground, having informed discussions on these issues between people of different political beliefs.
We've been evolving toward this for a long time, and I think we've reached the point where a lot of folks have found a good deal of profit, a good deal of advantage in keeping us divided and keeping us frightened of one another, in keeping the political rhetoric at a boiling point. It works. It works at the polls. It works in bringing in money for their political parties and for their campaigns. This idea of unifying us as a people, which you used to hear a whole lot about on the campaign trails, is gone the way. It's sort of all or nothing now. You elect us and we're going to put our agenda into place. You elect them, they'll put their agenda in place. And there's no middle place. There's no consensus. There's no compromise. There's no even talking about in the issues in a civil, productive way. There's no effort to understand one another. And, at the Civility Project, we don't pretend we're going to bring everybody to the same place in their politics, in their beliefs. What we want to do is get to the point where people can talk about those differences in a productive manner, where they can understand each other and try to figure out what drives the other person. And, at the Civility Project, our operating principle is that all good people come to their viewpoints through the same process. They take their experiences, their values, they run the information at hand through those experiences and values, and they come up with an opinion. If it's different than yours, if it's different than mine, doesn't make them evil, doesn't make them stupid, doesn't mean they're out to destroy the country.
And so as you and Stephen are enacting the Civility Project and working to engage in these kinds of conversations or engage these kinds of conversations between people of different political backgrounds, you think about where we're at in our politics and where, as you said, things sort of changed to lead to this place that we're in where it's this side and it's this side and there is no middle ground. It's just a rift. It's tough to unring that bell. What are some of the ways that the Civility Project combats that and tries to facilitate those open, those honest, and those informative conversations between people of different political backgrounds?
Yeah, I mean, we have several steps we ask people to consider to take when they're engaging with someone who has different beliefs than they do. And the first thing we ask them to do is sit down and talk about everything but their differences, to sit down and talk about who they are, why they believe the things they do, what their experiences in life have been, what their backgrounds are. Steve and I did this ourselves early on through a project from StoryCorps on NPR, where we sat down and just talked about why he's a progressive, why I'm a conservative. We learned things about each other we didn't know before. And we found that if people will take the time to do that, make that effort just to talk in an honest way about who they are, it leads to the sort of respect you need to begin a civil conversation.
DetroitNews.com to read all the articles from the Detroit News. We're joined by Nolan Finley. He is the editorial page editor with the Detroit News. Also joining us from Oakland University Center for Civic Engagement is its director, Dave Dulio, on today's edition of the Megacast. And so, Dave, for your organization, partnering with Nolan and with Stephen for Civility Day, what does that add to the curriculum that your organization is providing in the Oakland University community, but also to the greater community as we go into another political season, especially following up the major political season of 2020 that really had some serious ripple effects on the electorate?
Sure, Tyler. It's a real honor for us to have Nolan and Stephen back on campus, along with a host of other folks, including Representative Debbie Dingle will be at Civility Day, Representative Fred Upton will be at Civility Day. We'll have and many more. It's truly an honor for us to have them on our campus. And what it does is it just shows the alignment that is out there between organizations like the Center for Civic Engagement and the Civility Project. And your question to Nolan there about how they go about this fits into something that we do at the center too. And before every event or program that we hold, we go through our tenets of civic engagement and productive dialogue. And these are not at all controversial, right? They're simple things that we can do. And one of them is to model civil behavior and tone. And that's what Nolan and Stephen do every time they are together, whether it's part of the Civility Project or whether it's part of the other media that they do when they discuss Michigan and national politics. So it's just one more way that we can show people that people in the community and as well as on our campus that it can be done. You can have these folks who come at public policy questions from different perspectives, but they can disagree in a way that is civil and respectful and productive.
So then, Dave, the question from people that are outside this organization or aren't political moderates, like I'm very open about being, they may look at something like this and say, well, I don't want to talk to people from the opposite party of mine. They don't like me. They don't agree with my politics. All we're going to do is agree to disagree at best. But from your perspective, and Nolan, you can feel free to chime in on this also. Sure. What about that sort of mindset? Or what can something like this, these kind of engaging conversations with people from different points of view, do for somebody that has their set political points of view, especially in today's age where there is so much vitriol, it seems, in the political realm?
Yeah, I think one of the great things about the Civility Project that Nolan and Stephen do when they give these presentations is they show that when you understand where somebody else is coming from in terms of their ideas and their beliefs, there's a lot more acceptance, right? When you understand why somebody thinks the way that they do, they're much more likely to accept your position as well. And it's I think on a very practical level, right? I mean, we've heard stories, you've heard them too, about how people have lost friends or even lost the ability to talk to family members about important things in their lives because they have such rancorous disagreement. I think that hearing about civility in the way that Nolan and Stephen talk about it can help people even repair those relationships that they may miss.
And what we're trying to do is not to, it goes beyond just being nice and committing to being nice. Everybody can do that. We're asking people to commit to trying to understand and to drop their assumptions, because when we're not talking to each other, we're filling that space with assumptions. And I'll give an example early on. And when this idea started forming for Steve and I, years ago, we were up on Mackinac Island for the Michigan Republican Party state convention. Steve was covering it, and as was I. And late one night, after the sessions, we're having a drink in the bar, and Steve and I are sitting together, and I get up and walk away, and these two women pounce on me and said, "That's Stephen Henderson you're talking to. How could you be friends with him? He's just so awful. We hate him." And those words hit me pretty hard. We hate him. And I asked them, I said, "Do you know him?" And they said, "No, we've never met him." I said, "Well, how do you know you hate him?" "Well, we just don't like the way he thinks, the way he writes." I said, "I'll tell you what, go over and take my seat and sit beside him for a while and talk to him." It was an hour and a half later. I had to pull Steve away from them. And as we were leaving, I asked him, I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he said, "Oh, he's just great. We love him." And in an hour space, nothing had changed about the way Steve thought. Nothing had changed about the way they thought, but they took the time to talk to each other and get to know each other. And they found that, okay, he's about more than just the way he thinks and what his politics are. And that's what we're trying to do, is to chase these assumptions and get people to commit to not making the assumption that they hate someone based on their political views, because that's where we're at today. We just flat out hate each other if we're on the opposite side of the political aisle. And so, we take our inspiration from, Dr. Martin Luther King, and I'll paraphrase. He said, we hate each other because we don't know each other. We don't know each other because we don't talk to each other. And, we're trying to teach people how to talk to each other in a way that they can come to know each other and respect each other despite their differences.
We appreciate both of you coming on and telling us about this. Civility Day at Oakland University's Oakland Center through the Center for Civic Engagement is October 25th, 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. You can register on oakland.edu/CCE. Free for you students at Oakland University. For the rest of the public, $25. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate it. That does it for today's edition of the Megacast. We'll return Thursday with a new episode at 10 a.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Welcome to Mackinac Island.
I'm so excited to kick off the 2022 Pure Michigan summer travel season.
We are here to give you some incredible ideas for your summer vacation. Well, yay.